Thank you for watching the Choice versus Circumstance podcast. Please follow, like, and subscribe on YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram for more content.
I'm in the big leagues, told her don't miss me. Ballin' like Houston, ayy, feeling like Whitney. I need a bag, bruh, send it through quickly. I'm making his dog, like I'm in the big leagues. Told him that I gotta go, dog. I'm riding a road, y'all. I think that I'm back in my bag now. So I need that go, y'all. Got hits when he throwing the fastball. Just too quick for it, peeling off like the whip orange. Seen the effort, it's piss poor. I got too much, I gotta tend to. Car payments and the rent due. Told y'all that I'm 6 foot, but with the money statement, I'm 10-2. Too much that I've been through, so I put it all in that rear view. Clean money in a black whip, got old problems with the friends new. Yeah, I'm in the big leagues, told her don't miss me. Ballin' like Houston, ayy, feeling like Whitney. Yeah, I need a bag, bruh, send it through quickly. I'm making his dog, like I'm in the big leagues. Yeah, I told him I'ma hit it out the stands. I deserve another 100 bands. I deserve another 100 fans.
Got a question? Have you ever asked yourself, which parts of your life were made by choice and which were circumstance?
What's good, y'all? My name is Andrew. My mama named me Andrew, but I go by DJ Choice Beats, and welcome to the first of definitely many episodes of Choice versus Circumstance. And I'm just going to get right into it. I'm not going to make y'all wait. While I introduce this guest I have today, it is an honor and a privilege. It's hard to put into words how this person has influenced my life. I haven't seen them face to face until today for almost 15 years, but over the years we've been able to keep up, and it's always been encouraging, always been there for me, always kept to his word, and that's one of the biggest reasons why I want to talk to him. The guy I met at San Angelo at Goodfellow Air Force Base. He was my MTL, which is the military instructor. Called him sir for a long time, but now he's just my boy Dave. So ladies and gentlemen, retired Air Force Tech Sergeant. Let's hear it for one time for David Alonso. How we doing, man?
I'm good. Thank you for having me.
Man, honestly, you're a big part of this whole process because, over the years, all the stuff I've been working on, you're one of my favorite people to bounce ideas off of because we kind of have the same industry, the same, hobbies and likes and stuff like that. So, this is almost as much yours as it is mine, like in a little piece, so I appreciate you coming and, being around, especially for the first episode too. So this is really special for me, man.
Wow. Thank you.
Yeah,
No, this is great. I'm happy to be here. I'm always happy to talk to you and just catch up.
That's awesome, man. So before we get into it, because we got a lot of things to cover, and I'm going to keep it real short and sweet, but there's a lot of things to cover. I want to start off with the wellness trinity. You can be as general or specific as you want. How are you? How are you physically? How are you mentally? How are you emotionally? I think it's one of the most important things, so how's your wellness trinity?
Oh man, I'm good. I got a good family life. Work is work, and it pays the bills, and I got good people in my life, so I can't complain.
Yeah. Well, you know what? That's better than, content. Sometimes people say content, and it seems like it might be a positive connotation, but it could also be a trigger for the person who doesn't want to say too much. So, can't complain actually is really dope for me. So I'm glad to hear that. Yeah, I'm still in awe, man. It's been since 2009 that I've seen you face to face or had a conversation, but like I said, thank you for social media and the internet. We've stayed in contact all these years, and I really honestly do look at you as a mentor, as somebody I can come to, and that's actually the genesis of how we met. So I'm gonna start there. In May of 2008, I think it was, I graduated basic training in San Antonio, hopped the bus, and ended up in San Angelo in the middle of nowhere.
Didn't we all?
Yeah, so going out there to do intelligence tech training, and I was like, basic training's over. We're gonna get to go have some fun and learn, but it's still the same process a little bit, with like phasing and stuff like that. So tell me about how you got there and your journey through enlisting and whatnot.
Yeah. So I was, my AFSC when I was active duty was ground transportation. So I was getting to a point where I was getting, just a little tired of that gig. So I was looking for something new and trying to figure out a way to, I guess, give back to more of the young. I didn't have any troops at the base I was stationed at. I had no one I supervised. So, I felt like I had something more to give of myself. So I applied to become an MTL, special duty, get out of my career field. And I just kind of blindly filled out the application, and next thing I know, I got orders to Goodfellow Air Force Base. Never heard of this place ever. Had to look it up on a map, and yeah, if the Texas was a dartboard, it would be dead center.
And the funny thing about that, when you said you had to look it up on a map, I looked it up, and it's still hard to find.
It is.
Yeah, so. The best way to describe it, I guess, is 2 hours from San Antonio and 2 hours to Austin, like east or west. Oh no, Austin's north, and then San Antonio east, I guess.
I think San Antonio was like kind of southeast. Austin was northeast. Dallas was even further. Yeah.
Listen, I had
3 hours away from anything.
I had no idea where I was. Texas is like a 3-day drive by itself. So just being there, by itself. So I'm going to give you my first impressions of you, because I don't know if I've ever actually told you this. So we graduate basic training, you get on a bus, we end up in San Angelo, and you're in a briefing, and I get Staff Sergeant Burnett. And for those of y'all that y'all aren't going to know who he is, but I'll put it to you like this. There's a game that you see on TV or in real life called Good Cop, Bad Cop. Okay, Burnett was the bad cop, the funniest bad cop, the meanest bad cop, the most understanding, but he would never let you know that he was going to be nice to you. Mm-hmm. And I fell asleep in that briefing, and he made me stand up.
Uh-huh.
And then I fell asleep standing up. So me and him never had a good thing going. Eventually, honestly, we got to a point, and then there was Staff Sergeant Carrasco. Is that what his name was?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So he was the nice guy.
Mm-hmm.
He could put it on you, but he was the one that would, play games with us. He was the one that would do intramurals with us, but also don't take his kindness for weakness.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think it was about day 2 or 3. Here comes this guy. And his ABUs, all I see is a mustache, and he walks up, and we're in full dress, and he's walking down the line, and he looks at me, and I'm like, and that's how I met you. That was my first impression of you. I was like, this guy is something else, and you got to be that way, though. You know what I'm saying?
I had to.
Tell me about like when you train and stuff like that. Like, what is the mentality? How do they get you into that? Because they tear us down, bring us back up, and put us into a place. Like, what was your training to become an MTL?
Very similar. So the MTL school we were across the hall from the drill instructor academy. I mean, we shared the same facility. We went through all the same training. So yeah, we were side by side with the MTIs that you dealt with down at Lackland for basic training. So we had their same training. It was just ours was a little more condensed. They had, I think, 6 weeks. Ours was 2 weeks. Gotcha. Same training, and I mean, it was nonstop. We were up at 5 a.m. and going until 10 o'clock at night every day.
Gotcha.
We were going through the same rigors. We're learning how to march. We're learning how to march troops. We have to learn to march ourselves, relearn. Because for me, that time it was 13 years since I had been through boot camp, through basic training. Wow. So, trying to remember all the nuances in doing that. So had to learn that, learn how to call cadence, projecting my voice, and then of course, learning how to, mentor new troops coming into the military and how to be a really good, strong leader and supervisor, and of course have that. I mean, they taught us how to be approachable yet also have that wall.
It's funny you say that, because that was the next thing I was going to talk about. Even when I saw the glimmers of niceness from Staff Sergeant Burnett, I still had a chip on my shoulder about him. And it's because I think that's the role that he decided to be, and he did it well. And I would take nothing away from that. 16, I was 21 years old, so 15 years later, I was scared to death of you. I wanted to impress you. I wanted to never get a 341 pulled. In fact, there were some days I ran back to my room and I was late for lineup because I didn't have 341s, and I had to have 341s, and I had to run upstairs and refill one out because I knew you were coming. But it was when I was waiting for my placement in class that I was on casual duties, and we'd hang out in the morning and get ready to get to our assignments. And then I saw the, I don't want to say the human side, but like you let it down for a second,
Absolutely.
I was like, this guy could be one of the dopest friends I could ever meet in my entire life. And I learned a lot, and a lot of things you said to me back then still resonate to this day, so I want to thank you for that. And it's because of you that, it was bearable at times, and having that opportunity. But enough of the mushy. You did 20 years. Like after I left in 2009, what was your next path after that?
So let's see. Yeah, 2009. I left Goodfellow in 2011.
Okay.
So yeah, I had to stay there a little bit longer than you did.
Yeah.
And then I went back.
A lot of good people.
Yeah. And then went back to my career field and got orders to Joint Base Lewis McChord up here in Tacoma, Washington, and yeah, finished out my career. It was good, Then we decided to stay in the area. We had 2 kids and just wanted to stay somewhere for a while, let the kids establish roots in an area that we both enjoyed and grow up. Now we're hitting that crest. It's been so long we've been here. Both girls my oldest daughter is now 19, almost 20 years old.
That's
and
crazy.
She's out of the house. The youngest one is 17. She's a junior in high school. So it's the next picture is just right around the corner.
when you say it like that, it sounds ridiculously crazy and unimaginable, because it's been so long since we've had those personal conversations like that. But then you got to remember too, when I was in basic training, my daughter was born in week 2, and now she's going to be 16 and driving, and a sophomore about to go to prom and doing all this other stuff. And it's wild for me to think about that, so that was also a helpful thing too, being away from my kid and having somebody that, resonated with that to be able to talk about it, you know what I'm saying? So, it was good things, man, so to get to the whole choice versus circumstance theme, to get to the military, and then we'll get on to, after that, signing your first enlistment contract, circumstance or choice?
That was a choice, absolute choice. When I was in high school, I knew, at that time, I wanted to join the military. I wanted to join the Air Force. Although, for whatever reason, one day I decided I wanted to go talk to the Marine recruiter. And I went into the whole went into the recruitment office, and it just so happened the Marine recruiter door was closed, but the Air Force recruiter was sitting right there, and he was just kicking back, looking at me, and he's like, "What are you doing?" "I was coming to see the recruiter." "Well, let's talk." And man, he pulled me right in there, and Master Sergeant Juarez, I still remember that guy's name.
Yeah, people like that are impactful,
And he got me in the door, and next thing I know, I'm signing the paperwork, and I'm heading off to San Antonio in I think I was in town maybe 2-3 more months.
Oh, wow.
But yeah, I knew when I was in high school I wanted to join the military. That was my path.
Got you. So, what influenced that? Was it I mean, when I was in high school, we had like college fairs and job fairs, and like there was always one military booth.
Hmm.
You know, or was it something like that, or was it like a family tradition, or like, you know, what made you want to go that route?
It was definitely more of a family tradition. You know, my dad he served in the Navy. My grandfather served in the Army. I had uncles that served in the Air Force, one Marine. So it was just, you know, it was a family tradition. So I just followed the footsteps of them.
No, that's awesome, man.
Yeah.
So, you know, when you go in and you sign your contract, I don't know about when you started, but when I was in, it was either you sign 4 or you sign 6, right? After that, you can, you know, discharge and leave. What was the circumstances or the choice of re-enlisting?
Oh yeah, that was definitely more circumstantial, I think, or choice. It can go either way. I had just recently had gotten married, like around that 3-year mark, because I had originally signed up for 4 years, and met my wife while I was in Florida. That was my first base, Eglin Air Force Base, and had just recently got married, and I knew my 4 years were coming up, and I didn't want to move back home to California with my parents, I had no goal, no aspiration. I had nothing waiting for me back home, and so I didn't want to come home newly married with no job prospects. So I decided, all right, I'm gonna go ahead and re-enlist another time and see what happens. And then, yeah, it kind of just kept going from there.
Like a snowball effect, just
yeah, you know, did it again. Next thing I know, I was pushing that 10-year mark. I'm like, well, I'm halfway here. You know, first kid's on the way. I might as well, you know, I'll do it again, and you know, keep this trend up. At least it's steady income. Everything's taken care of. Yeah, we'll figure life out as that comes. Next steps come around, and then next thing I know, 20 years is come and gone.
Yeah. No, I mean, like, honestly, I remember it was shortly after you retired and we reconnected. I think it was on Facebook, maybe, or Instagram. I can't remember exactly which platform. But I saw that you were wearing a set of headphones and there was a microphone in front of you. And that's what perked my ears up. Because when I got out is when I started working on music and production and recording. So what are you doing? And like you were telling me about like after the military life. So tell me like how you got into that and why you chose the field that you're in, and you know, just explain a little bit about what you're doing now.
Oh yeah. So, you know, while I was active, I had this hobby. I liked to DJ. I liked to just be involved in music somehow, some way. One day we were going to church and they were looking for volunteers to run the soundboard at the church. I'm like, yeah, okay, I think I can do that. And that's when I got hooked in on the whole audio engineering aspect of what the music, you know, on that side of music, and just fell in love with it, and just being able to, I guess, have, I don't know, it was kind of a control thing. I liked being able to have that control over all the musicians, because I can't play an instrument myself, but being able to take someone on stage, whether it's their singing, their guitar, drums, whatever, and be able to really manipulate it, and you can see the crowd, how they react to a drum solo, guitar solo, or just, you know, you just feel they start feeling the music, and I'm like, yeah, okay, I've done my part, and look at how it, you know, all these people responded. So I really got joy out of that. And then after I retired, I went to school. I went back to college and got a degree as an audio engineer, learned the trade, and it's been so much fun getting to learn, be able to do that. You know,
and what's
a dream to a reality.
Yeah, what's crazy is, so you do a lot of live engineering. I do a lot of recording and post-production, and I get this big feel when I hear the final product, but I don't think I could fathom the rush of doing it in real time. So like that has to be like so crazy for you, you know what I'm saying? Like that's a lot of energy to have, and then just be really good at it too. You know what I'm saying? Like that's when you talk about the control. Like sometimes I'm DJing a set and I do a mix that I've never tried before, and I look up and the crowd's like, I'm like, yeah, I got him hooked. You know what I'm saying? So like that's the only real time advantage I have. You know what I'm saying? So that's really, really dope, man. One of the big things I wanted to ask you though, why baseball?
Well, so when I got done with school, I just literally I put a resume together and I sent it out blindly to all kinds of folks, baseball, football, other um, just venues. And the baseball team was the first one that called me and brought me back.
Yeah.
Called me in for an interview, and I've always really enjoyed baseball. I love watching it. So it just was like, yeah, you know what? Why not? Get paid to do two things I really, enjoy. Get to watch baseball and play music and be involved in that setting. And man, it's been a blast. Every single time I go to the stadium and get involved, it's just, it's like the first time every time, it hate to be cliche, but it is definitely one of those, if you're doing something you love, it's never work. And I can truly say that when I'm at that stadium, I can be there for 6-8 hours and it goes by within 10 minutes, it feels like.
That's awesome. And that's honestly one of the biggest motivating factors of the guests that I'm going to have going forward. And, starting with you, the people I talk to and the people I've surrounded myself with, I'm in awe of them. Like, I don't really get starstruck or fangirl over like celebrities or whatever like society wants to call it. Like, if I met John Cena or like CM Punk or The Rock, like I might fangirl a little bit because I love WWE. But I actually fangirl more over the people I know.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So when you say like, if you love what you do, that's a concept that you taught me a long time ago, and I've used that moving forward. And I'm happy to hear your story. You know what I'm saying? 'Cause it's almost like you started over, and you went skyrocketed, did the whole thing, and I got out under some. Well, the technical term, I guess, is under honorable circumstances. Yeah. And I'll be honest, and one of my big things this year is to control the narrative and to let go of some vulnerabilities. And I will say out loud, I've told half truths and lies depending on who I'm talking to, and close friends know. So you obviously were there.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell the truth of what happened, and I want to know what your perspective was from it. Okay. So when I was in tech school, I bought a glass bowl or a pipe, whatever you want to call it, a butane lighter, and some spice. It was salvia. It wasn't gonna pull up on a drug test or nothing like that. I think I did it one time. Brought it back to base, hid it in some rolled up socks, and put it in my bag and forgot all about it. And I was going from San Angelo to Wichita Falls, full dress blues, getting ready to go on the plane, and here comes airport security. Are you Andrew Francois? Yes, come with us. Are you trying to traffic drugs on an airplane? No, I am not. Is this weed? No, it is not. Test it. All of a sudden, OSI shows up. And for the civilians who've never been in the military, I liken it to, I guess, like Air Force's version of like the FBI.
Yep.
And I sit in interrogation for 3-4 hours. And finally I said, listen, before I joined the military, yes, I've smoked some weed. But because I am bought in, I have not. Test me. I will pee every day if you want me to. What ended up happening was I was told I was discharged for fraudulent enlistment. When I met with my recruiter and he was going through all the questions and checking all the boxes, he looked at me and said, have you ever smoked weed before? And I was like, no. So they compared my enlistment contract to the answers that I had in that interrogation. And that's what I was told. And I don't want to brag about it, but I am single-handedly the reason why Saudi is illegal in the military. Like, that's not something to be funny about, because like before that, it wasn't.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? I remember the commander showed up at opening formation the next day, and I have to stand there, and he's looking me dead in my eyes and giving out generic statements, and I know it's about me. And everybody knew I was leaving. and everybody wanted to know why I was back.
Mhm.
You know, but in that process, I went to a chaplain and I went to a little bit of therapy because I was feeling down on myself. And the best thing that came out of it, I was diagnosed as bipolar, and now I'm medicated and was ahead of it. So if that would have never happened, I don't know if that would have been figured out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But being you, knowing that I'm discharged, I said my goodbyes, we had a hug and stuff like that, and then I come back in. What were you guys told on your side?
Oh man.
So, I mean, it's a lot to
I-
remember, probably, but
Yeah, that is a lot to remember. So, and I'll be truthful. There was a lot of things about Goodfellow I try to forget.
yeah,
So I probably have selective memory. I try to remember all the good things. The good people.
right.
You for one. Um, Yeah, I just remember them coming in and asking us a lot of questions. If we knew, if there was anything we ever suspected, if, during room inspections, if we ever saw any kind of paraphernalia, they made us ramp up room inspections on everybody.
Mhm.
I think we even had the hawk inspection not long after that whole ordeal.
Yeah, and I was getting ready to go home on leave.
If I remember right, I want to say we did a
I
hawk
almost missed
inspection.
my
You,
flight.
and you remember those, right?
Yeah.
And for the audience, the hawk inspection, they call it the health and wellness check, and that's where we come in at I think it was like 3:00 in the morning, pull the fire alarm, and we raid the dorms and we go through everything. I mean, there's no personal space in those adventures.
Right.
Everything's getting gone through. So yeah, that was first time I was a part of one of those, and man, that was an eye-opening experience to see.
I apologize.
Yeah, no,
It's my fault. I'm sorry.
yeah, damn it. No,
Mhm.
but no, it was just. But yeah, I think on our end, we felt more of like, I guess, the brunt of it, because it was like, well, how could you let this happen? You guys are supposed to be the frontline supervisors of all these trainees, the pipeline students at the schoolhouse, and you're supposed to know what every single student is doing at every single given moment of the day, and whether or not they're on the up and up or they're doing something illegal. We're supposed to know this and catch it before it gets out of hand. I mean, we got a rash of crap. We were basically told we were the detriment to the Air Force for letting this happen. And I'm like, come on, man,
And there was way worse things going on
Oh.
a daily basis.
on a
I did this
daily
one
basis.
time, and it was probably maybe 3 months later before they found it. Like, that's how long it was. I forgot about it. I was just like, oh, this sounds cool. I've heard of it before. I wonder what it is.
Yeah. No, after being there for 4 years, I mean, what you did was so minor compared to some of the other things I saw over that 4-year span.
Right.
And it boggled my mind. And I'd see some of these folks, I mean, yeah, they would get away with some crap, and then you see some other ones that like do minor issues, minor infractions, I guess, and they're out. Yeah, I mean, they were out with a quickness.
I mean, they sent me to watch a court martial. I'm not gonna name drop the 2 airmen that were in the court martial. I don't know if you remember what was going on with 2 guys. There were hotels involved and a bunch of other stuff.
Oh yeah, all the parties.
Yeah. And they
yeah.
were like, "This could be you if you don't straighten up." And I was like, "What did I do?" Like,
Right.
I get it, but I would never purposely do that. And for a long time, it kind of put me into a deeper depression.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, if that didn't happen, I would have not known that I had a chemical imbalance in my brain. So I kind of like welcome it.
Yeah.
But I was very embarrassed. I had to go home to call my parents. I had my daughter and her mom at the time to explain that too. Like, I signed for 6 years. I'm supposed to be going to a permanent duty station soon. And hey, well, I'm coming home. I'll tell you when I get there. Like, it was, a whole long thing. But you know, it was a maturation process, you know, and it's very quick,
Hmm.
very quick when you get into a situation like that, you know. But I've always wondered, you know, because I mean, I think I've talked to um, Sergeant Sessions maybe one time since then. One of the funniest guys I've
Oh
ever
my
met in my
God, John
life.
Session.
Yeah, man. He was Houston through and through,
Oh
but
yeah.
military through and through. And he knew where the line was, and he was
Hmm.
there at all times.
All the
You know what I'm
time.
saying? Yeah. So I mean, one of the greatest guys I got to talk to, and um, but yeah, I'm not gonna be mushy about it. We're gonna move forward. We're gonna move forward.
Yeah.
So tell me what game day is like. Let's go to that.
Ooh, game day.
What's a normal game day for you?
Game day, I show up to the stadium about 3 hours before first pitch, and you know, I got to go in and we get our script. We go through everything that's like line by line, what music cues are, what sound effects we're going to use, start picking out music, brainstorming. If we don't have songs picked out, you know, we got to pick songs for the different skits. You know, it's minor league, so we have skits between every inning. um, yeah, so we just kind of talk through the game day process, and I get the computer set up. I get all my music tuned in. We have a national anthem singer or groups of singers. We'll get them all in, dialed in beforehand. Try, sometimes, you know, if we're lucky, run them through at least one rehearsal. But sometimes they'll show up just before gates open, and I know
Right,
they
right.
can't. So, but yeah, you know, get everything set up. Most of the times I'll have at least 3 or 4 pieces of paper sitting on my desk waiting for me from players wanting new walk-up songs. So I got to get all that queued up. And if, you know, if I have questions, I'm on the phone with them. Hey, you know, what song, you know, make sure I have the right song. Is this where you want it to start? You know, and just have that interaction with the players. And then gates open, and then that's when everything starts going. You know, I'll have music playing. Well, there's usually music playing beforehand, you know, players for batting practice and warm-ups. I have that going on, but then gates open, I got to switch it to a different playlist.
Have you ever thought about like plugging in and just doing it live, like going back into your old school love of DJ and just doing a live set for a playlist?
We have done that, actually. We
No,
have
I
done that.
mean you personally though.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
you've
I've
done
done
it?
that. Oh yeah. Yeah.
You still got it?
It's, you know, I'm rusty.
Yeah.
I am rusty, but you know, I've done it a couple of times, especially on special occasions. You know, we've had like celebrity softball games at our stadium, and so I'll set up everything and I'll just play music throughout that, DJ for that, and then whatever else. And
Yeah.
you know, we've even actually had DJs from like the Seattle Seahawks come in and do special sets, and
Very
I'll
dope.
jump
Very
in on
dope.
there every once in a while if they let me. You know, sometimes they're a little touchy, you know, with their equipment.
Well, you know, I've learned being in the DJ industry. Some people get an ego about their set sometimes, which if you're good, you're good. I'll give credit where it's due. But I learned a long time ago, learn the basics of any and every board. Because if you have to jump in for a set, you can't say, oh, well, I don't have my playlist. I don't have my board.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So some of those guys, sometimes I think maybe they're too comfortable, but I mean, that's not my place to say, you know, but no, if you're playing for the Seahawks, you have all the right in the world to be touching your board. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No. And he's a super nice guy. But yeah, he's definitely like, this is my stuff.
Yeah, it's business, you know, at the end of the day.
Just hand me a cable and just let me go. Yeah, you got it. I'm on it.
I've walked into some venues before where I've never played there before, and I kind of had to mentally set an expectation. So I walked in, I was like, all right, I need this table, give me 2 XLRs. I got them, where am I plugging in? And just leave it alone.
Yeah.
Quick sound check and then walk away. But maybe a part of it is also too, you never want someone to think that you're not qualified.
Right.
You know, so it could possibly be like, I'm checking you, you're checking me, checking the temperature on both sides, you know.
Right.
But that's a tough road to go down sometimes, you know. But no, that's really cool. That's really, really cool.
Yeah.
Keeping on the minor league topic, I got 2 minor league questions for you.
Okay.
Number 1, what is your thoughts on the Savannah Bananas?
You know, I'd like to go see one of their games. That looks like a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I could imagine the folks up in the control room, especially like the audio guy, my position. There's so much going on. You know, AAA, we have rules. You know,
Right.
we got a lot of rules, and I can get fined if I'm playing music that past a certain point. Now with pitching clocks and everything, I can't delay the game at all. I can get in a lot of trouble. Switch over to Savannah Bananas, man, they got music playing while the games are going. They got everything. That seems so wild. I think that would be a lot of fun
to watch. Yeah,
it would be a lot of fun to be involved in something like that. You know, maybe for a day or two, you know, just to say I've done it, and then go back to, you know, I kind of like my little calmness.
Yeah, just people where it's like the construct right here.
Yeah, in my realm, I know what's going on. I keep an eye on the game. You know, if there's something I have time, I can flip over to my phone. I can check social media. I can keep in touch with the family. You know, text messages, whatnot, and then go back and I just play my song, play a sound effect, whatever. Just keep up with the game. But, yeah,
so, I mean, they're touring on like major league stadiums right now. Where I'm at in Greater Cincinnati, Northern Kentucky, there's an independent league and a team called the Florence Y'alls. Well, there's a big water tower that says Florence Y'all as you cross over the border into the next.
Okay.
So people are always like Florence Y'all, so they changed the name from the Florence Freedom to the Y'alls, and the mascot is just a big water tower with a face on it. Yeah, so super fun. Like it's a great stadium to go, great interaction. But they went to Savannah to play against them. So I wonder what it's like when a real team goes. Is it like the Globetrotters playing against the Generals all the time, where it's scripted on both sides, or like do you have to actually play baseball sometimes? You know, like that's a thought I've always had and always wondered. But until I get to see them, I guess I'll never know the answer. They'll be in Louisville soon, so I might go check them out.
Okay.
So, yeah, that'd be fun. So my second minor league question. I read the other day that since Oakland is moving to Vegas, that the Coliseum, I guess in Oakland, like they're not going to renew the lease, so they're going to play in Sacramento for 3 years. And my first thought was, how are they going to be able to fill the stadium? And then I read the stats. The stadium seats 14,000, and their average is like 11,000. So it might be a better experience. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like what would it be like if the Mariners came to your spot and played a couple games?
Well, I mean, technically we did, except it was the COVID year. You know, we had the Mariners. There was the taxi squad at the time, and so it was always we'd have those inter squad games at my stadium. And so no one was allowed to come in, unfortunately. So
Gotcha.
Can't speak to that experience, what it'd be like for the fans. But, we've had some high profile players in our stadium.
Yeah.
And they attract a big crowd. Actually, just 2 weeks ago, it was our home opening weekend. And the Tacoma Rainiers, we were playing against the Oklahoma City. Well, it's not the Dodgers anymore. They're the Oklahoma City Baseball Club.
Anyway, the Washington football team.
Yes. And lo and behold, on the Sunday game, it's like one of the big name pitchers for the Dodgers, Walker Buehler. He's up there on the mound pitching.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
A rehab start or something like that?
Yeah, it's his first rehab start in 2 years. I mean, our place was packed. I mean, we had standing room only in that stadium for that day.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
It was close to 8,000 folks.
Yeah. Do you get to spend time with the players a lot?
Not anymore. Ever since COVID, it's been a lot more of just, virtual interaction, text messages, things like that. Before COVID, yeah, I used to hang out with players all the time. We used to go down to the clubhouse and just check in with them, shoot the breeze. Cause that's how I would get information from them for like walk-up songs. I would just go down to the clubhouse, walk in and just like, hey, I don't have a song for you. What do you want to listen to? When you come up to bat, and they would just give me their information. I would just go upstairs and make sure I have their song ready. Now it's I either get a little note or a text message.
That works. Yeah.
I mean, they had to cut down on it. Yeah.
But it also helped a lot of things. We learned that how the power of virtual. I think Zoom's one of the biggest examples, and maybe I'm just naive. I'd never really heard of it until COVID. I know it'd been around for a while, but like that was a big boom there, and like people being able to work from home. Like I have friends to this day that go to work 4 days a week and have a work from home day every week, and like they rotate between like employees every day. So but I feel like we're getting out of it.
Yeah.
I still see people in masks and stuff. Like there's some people that like didn't leave the house for like 2-3 years or were very cautious, but I feel like we're getting out of it, even though there's different strands every year and whatever. But I haven't seen anybody with chickenpox in a long time. I'm sure there's a case here or there. I feel like it'll just go away, or hopefully at least,
Right.
But
Right.
I think it's just you have one of those jobs I've always wanted. Like I love baseball, huge Red Sox fan, but like for me, I would more want to do like football, like the Patriots, or like do like the Celtics, because growing up in Rhode Island. But like you have the dream, what I'm saying? You have on paper at least. Talk about, like I said, as general or specific as you want, but talk about the struggles behind what's on paper.
Yeah, no, that's there are some struggles, I'm not gonna lie, because it's baseball, it's a long stretch. It's 6 months.
Yeah.
So there can be time if they have a 12-game homestand, well, I'm going to the stadium 12 days. And and that's 12 straight days, and it fluctuates. So you could have you have a Saturday night game, and it never fails. You might have a Saturday night game. It'll go extra innings, so you don't get out of the stadium till I'm usually there another 30 minutes, 45 minutes after the gates have closed. Then I got to close everything up, get out of there. So you get out of there 11:30, 12 o'clock at night sometimes, and then Sunday it's a day game. Well, I'm back at the stadium at 9 o'clock in the morning. And oh, by the way, it's an hour drive for me to get there.
Oh, wow. Okay. So where exactly are you in Washington in comparison to Tacoma?
So I live in Olympia. So it's, with traffic.
That's the capital, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Yep. So on any given day, it's anywhere between 45 minutes to an hour to get to Tacoma. If I want to get to Seattle, it can take me an hour and a half to 2.
Oh, wow.
And that's, traffic's bad, and there's always road construction on the freeway.
Right.
So dealing with that, if you're coming back from that area or going to that area in the middle of the night, it could take you less time, but
your hour turns into 45 minutes or something like
right
that.
Yeah, but other than that, it takes good 45 minutes to an hour just to get to the Tacoma.
Gotcha.
On a good day. So yeah, I got so like for instance, tomorrow I'm working the game I got to be at the stadium by 3, so I'll leave the house around 2, get to the stadium by 3, gates open at 5, I think at 5, games at 6. So I should be home around 10:30, 11 o'clock tomorrow night if all goes well. So there's that. And then of course you need day games, night games, sometimes double headers, depending on if they got to make up for weather. And then, weekends, you miss the weekends, you miss the holidays, you do miss a lot of family times. You try to make it up when you can. When the team's on the road, you could have that week off. So that's nice. So you get a whole week off. You can do whatever. You go spend time with your family on the summer breaks. But then when the team comes back, well, it's, 6, 12, how many days of a homestand you got. Nice now that it's just back to baseball. A few years ago, just before COVID, we actually had 2 soccer teams that also shared the stadium. So we had baseball team. Yeah, so you had the baseball team, and then they would go on the road for a week. Well, then you'd have 2 to 3 soccer matches in between. So
and you were involved in that too?
Oh yeah, we had the Tacoma Defiance, which is the Seattle Sounders minor league soccer club.
Okay.
And then the OL Reign, which is the women's professional.
Love them.
So I got to work with those.
At one point in time, actually, I lived in Louisville for about 3 or 4 years. So we had Lou City, and they would play at the Louisville Bat Stadium until they built their stadium. And then the women's, they opened up the women's league, and they have what they call Louisville Racing, which the whole theme of Derby and Churchill Downs and stuff. But I've always wondered that too. I feel your pain on that one, because like you might feel like you have a couple days off, but like it's in between, you know. But watching soccer on a baseball field, I've always wondered, like, for 75% of the field you got grass and you got dirt right here in the corner, like what that's like. But no, I mean, like it sounds like a dream. It really does. And you can't really put, like, you know, your finger on the pulse until you actually do it. And the way you describe like those 12 days, it kind of sounds the same as I could do the bananas for 2 days, and then it becomes like redundant and like stuff like that. You know, so how do you keep yourself motivated?
You just do. You know, you kind of get into the rhythm of it. You know, you have to remember every game is going to be a different experience for the fans out in the stands. It is as repetitive as it is for me and everybody else in that control room. It's a different experience for everybody out there, for the thousands, you know, except for the season ticket holders. They hear the same thing over and over and over again. But for the other, you know, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 people that are in attendance, you know, this is their first game and only game that they might come to for the season. So it's going to be some new. So you just got to keep that in your mind that, you know, I'm there for them. You know, I could play that same
kind of like
sound effect every time.
Go into beast mode, and then when the game is over, you can turn it off and be like, all right, give me a second. You know what I'm saying? I got that.
Yeah. And usually by the time, you know, after those long home stands, you know, I get in the car and I make that. It's actually nice that drive home. I'll just turn everything off and I'll just listen to the road noise and just be quiet and peaceful. And that's, you know, that's my drive home. It's just calm.
and you know, people ask me that all the time, being a DJ. Like, so I'll finish a gig and then I might go get a nightcap at a bar, or like, you know, go to a restaurant. You're a DJ, play something on the jukebox. I just got paid for 5 hours. Unless you give me money, I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
And like, I'm not like being obnoxious, but it's the truth of the matter, because it is exhausting. You're putting on this facade and you have this energy, and like you're a focal point. Yeah. Even when you don't want to be, you know. But my difference is my drive home, I'm listening to comedians. I want to laugh. You know what I'm saying? I want to think about anything else. Or, you know, listening to a podcast and, you know, just understanding people. I don't think I've listened to the radio or like music other than when I'm DJing for a long time. Like consistently, at least, you know, because when does your gift and your love become a curse? Or when does it become a point where it's, do I do this today? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I've had those moments where, you know, drive up there and as much as I love it, you get to that stadium and I look out there like, man, gotta do this again. You know, it becomes like everything else.
Right.
But I don't know. I think one of the nice things is that you go to the stadium and everybody there, it's family. You know, it is home away from home. You know, everybody's there looking out for each other because they're all in the same grind. Right. You know, whether it's us up in the control room, it's the you know, the staff working the concession stands, it's the ushers down on cleaning the aisles. You know, they're doing the same thing every day over and over and over again. So we all get it. You know, we're all there. We all make the best of it, and we all laugh and joke and make the best time of it.
By a lot of high fives, a lot of close circles. You work with the same people. You see the same people all the time.
Oh, yeah.
And that's one of my things I love about the game of baseball. It's probably the sport I watch the least on TV because it's kind of boring on TV.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Live, I love it. Same thing with hockey. You know, I'm a Bruins fan. Unless they're on TV, I might catch a period. But I think baseball is one of the only sports that hasn't evolved with the times as much as the other major sports. Like you got the pitch clock now, and you have you know, review on pitches, balls, and strikes. But like it's always been the human element. But it's always been, that's why it's Americans' game. You know, I'm annoyed with the NFL. Kind of annoyed with the NBA. I just watched someone take off from the 3-point line and take 5 steps and dunk, and no travel was called. You know, but I also just saw a catcher get called for a balk the other day, and it's in the rules, and it's always been in the rules.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, he used his mask, right? For this.
Yeah.
That's what I saw too. Yeah. Oh man,
so I think that, you know, I think it actually makes your story a lot doper. Like, because you said you put it out there, so that was like the circumstance. You made a choice off of who called you first, you know. And that was something I've always wondered. Like, did you choose this? Like, did you have like constraints? You know, because sometimes putting a restriction on yourself, it kind of separates you from like a blessing.
Yeah.
You know, because I always say like circumstance is not necessarily negative connotation, and choice isn't always positive connotation. You know what I'm saying? So like it's just rolling with it that way. You know, so you know what would you say like in terms of your overall journey? You know, rate it on a scale of 1 to 10.
Oh, my journey to here? Oof.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely at least 9.5. I mean, I think the only way it would be a 10 is if I got to like the major league level, you know.
Oh, well, now you're just bragging now.
I know, you know. I mean, I'm not a big Mariners fan. I grew up in Southern California, so I'm a Dodgers fan. That's my team. That's the team I grew up rooting for my entire life in baseball.
Do you have an interpreter?
Need to get one. Working on it.
There you go. I saw something the other day. Being in Cincinnati, Pete Rose said, "I'd be in the Hall of Fame if I just would have got an interpreter." Yeah, no, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but yeah, going to the majors would have been the only better thing. Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be about the only way I could bump it up to that next level, you know. Yeah. And funny enough, what this past off season, I was sitting there looking, and they had the position open, and then I hesitated. Like, should I not? Because then that's a commitment of a further drive is you know, one of the things I'm looking at. And I'm like, I don't know. Can I do it?
Seattle's on the move right now.
Yeah.
They got some good young guys up there, and that stadium's probably rocking. Are they still at Safeco?
Yeah. Well, it's T-Mobile Park now.
Gotcha.
Yeah. But no, yeah, it's fun because everybody, all those young guys that are making waves for the Mariners, these are all the guys I knew in Tacoma.
Right.
You know, I see them out on the field, and I'm seeing them. I mean, I remember pre-COVID these guys in Tacoma, and I'm like, I've talked to him. I still have his phone number. You know.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
You know, it's like JP Crawford. Yes, I know this guy. You know.
That's a cool thing to have. One guest I'm gonna have on a future episode, real close friend of mine. He works for the Eagles, and I remember I texted him and I was like, "Yo, is Brown playing today?" He's like, "Bro, I can't tell you that." I was like, "Man, he's on my fantasy team. Give me something, man. Give me something." But it's cool to like you look at them as your peers. You look at them like that, and that's why I said I don't fangirl over celebrities. I fangirl over the people that are doing what they love, and you know, they're living those lives. Like I've been able to meet a lot of cool people because of that, but it all starts on the ground floor, and you know, and you're one of them. Like I was freshly 21. I turned 21 March 22nd. I left April 1st. So I didn't get to celebrate my 21st birthday. I didn't get to, you know what I'm saying? So when I got out, I didn't know how to act for a little bit. You know what I'm saying? That's why I have long hair, because I had to cut my hair every other day. I was like, I don't want a haircut for a while. Yeah. Next thing I know, it's been a year, and I'm like, well, I got to do something with it or cut it. So here I am now, all these years later, with these locks going down the back of my head. You know what I'm saying? Side note, I've been wanting to say this whole time we've been talking, because you deserve this.
Uh-oh.
This was before I could even grow facial hair, and you saw 2 hairs. You're out of reg, sir. I've been wanting to say that this whole time. You are out of reg, sir. The beard looks good, but you're out of regs, man.
That was me, you know, after 20 years of shaving every day. You know, same reason. I was like, you know what? I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
I got to let it go. You know, during COVID, I let it grow way out. I mean, but I knew I could never do that again. Even the family.
No, like, I mean, it looked good. I think most of it is jealousy, because I was babyface and this is all I got.
Mm-hmm.
Because you sent me upstairs with a big razor and made me dry shave while we were in formation.
Oh.
I shaved this morning, but it had been like 3 days. But it was like 2 hairs, just 2 little hairs. if I would have never joined the military, I'd probably have a baby face to this day. And now it's all patchy because. So I blame you for not being able to grow a beard.
Oh, I do what I can.
I appreciate you greatly.
I will say that was all part of that persona. You know, that I, you know, that was you saw the true me at times. Yeah. I let you see that. There was very few people that actually saw that, and you were one of them. But for the most part, I didn't keep that side. Not a lot of people saw it. I had to keep a persona, especially as the flight chief.
Right.
After what was his name? I can't think of his name. He was the flight chief before me out there. Bigger guy, bald head. I had a little bit more hair than him, but he PCS'd, and I became the new flight chief for the 316th. And I had to. Yeah. Colonel Dobbs made sure I picked up the reins and led with an iron fist a little bit. And it was tough, because that's not my personality.
Right.
I went into this because I wanted to be, I became an MTL, like I said. I wanted to be a mentor to the younger troops coming in. Like, hey, this is what you really need to expect from the military when you get out there into the active life.
And then you became
really different. Yeah.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? But, I will say this, though, and I'm glad you said that. First and foremost, thank you for letting me be one of those people. I didn't ask for it. I would hope for it. I would never say that out loud. But the thing of it is that you never let it show. It never crossed paths when it needed to be. And if I thought that I had a leg up, I was very, very wrong. And, I feel like, sometimes you were harder on it, or sometimes it was just life. You know what I'm saying? I had a good relationship with Sessions and good relationship with Carrasco. Burnett, Jesus Christ. Okay, that's a whole nother story. I hope he's doing well. I don't know what he's doing now. I hope he's doing well. You grow, but no, like I could tell that there were times where you didn't necessarily want to put that face on, and that's why I always say Andrew's the guy that nobody knows and Choice is the guy everybody loves. Sometimes you have to live that persona for the people around you. And, I'm gonna ask this like one last question. We'll wrap it up with a couple things, but how much pressure does that put on you to have to do that for the majority of your day, then go home, decompress, be with your family, and then wake up knowing you got to do it again for like another 12, 13 hours?
It was hard. It was very hard. It was very hard to switch gears when I got home.
Mm-hmm.
And my wife would be the first one to attest. I had an anger issue. I developed an anger issue because I'd see things that I didn't agree with, and there was things that the Air Force would let slide, and there was things that they were like, very hard no. And what their line was and what my line was, two different things.
Compromising and justifying your beliefs sometimes. I saw some things too, even as being like a young airman too. So I definitely understand that. Yeah.
So it was hurtful. I started to resent the Air Force for the last couple of years I was in San Angelo, and I was happy to leave. And like I said, when I say I suppress some of those memories I have, it's full disclosure. Towards the end, I was on antidepressant medication. I became an alcoholic. I was drinking a lot. I was on medication just to get through. My marriage almost ended.
We are the same person in those rights.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And those are some of the things when I'm talking about being openly vulnerable and telling that story. Like, that's what I had to deal with afterwards. And for a long time, finding that decompression point and, mismanaged anger and stuff like that. We're all human, but people being able to be, graceful, I always just thought that you were a hard ass all the time. And when we were on casual duties, you said, okay, I got an hour to shut it down before I got to send y'all out. Let's joke and laugh about stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But I was also 21. Now that I'm 37, I feel like that old grandpa on the front porch, get off my lawn, kid. Like I just said the other day, I was like, these kids these days. You know what I'm saying? So I get it. And I commend you for being able to push through. And you've always been an example. And that's why I said, like, I'm so happy that we've been able to keep up over the years. You know, thank you for listening to my music. You know,
oh my gosh, yeah.
Before I release it, you're one of the first people to hear it, other than like my brother-in-law or my sister, because they helped me produce it. But you're one of the first people I go to. So thank you for that. Thank you for giving me advice, giving me knowledge. You know, I always said if I would have had a different job, I probably would have stayed in for life. Because, you know, my uncle was a master sergeant. If I was security forces, I probably would have stayed in for life. I want to blame it on intelligence and blame it on being bipolar and blame it on being depressive. But if I didn't, I wouldn't have met you. I wouldn't have met people like Airman Haley Davis or Dion Knighton, or people I still talk to this day, like the friends I still have, people I wish I never met that are hilarious. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't have been making music, because that's what I started doing as soon as I left. I was like, I need a hobby. You know, I wouldn't have been DJing. So no, I thank you very much. You've had more of an impact than you realize, and the whole mentorship and wanting to lead and to coach and develop. I can honestly say 15 years later, whether you hear it from a lot of people or not, you got one right here that's telling you that you did your job and you did it well.
Wow. So
I appreciate you greatly. I don't know exactly you're out of regs right now, but you know what I'm saying.
Man, that's good to hear. And I'll be honest with you. When you released your album at Christmas and you sent me the link, you know, and listen to it, and you, I'm not gonna pull it up because if I read it again, I'm probably gonna get emotional. But you wrote something to me, and I'm gonna paraphrase, but along those lines about how I impacted you. Buddy, I sat in my kitchen and cried. I'm not gonna, my wife's like, "What's wrong?" All I could do was show her your text. I couldn't say it.
Crazy.
I couldn't put it to words how I felt.
Yeah.
You brought me to tears.
I mean, it honestly is. That wasn't the intention. I'm kind of glad that happened. I don't want to pat myself on the back, but no, honestly, like it's just the truth. You know what I'm saying? I don't waste time on negative energy. If I don't like you or if I don't know you, that's when I don't talk. Yeah. You know, my love language is, you know, shooting the shit, talking crap, making fun, razzing you up, because that's how I love, and those are the people I care about, right? And it's back and forth. But you know, I heard Pharrell say one time, people don't get their flowers very often until they die. And after I heard that, I was like, I'm gonna make a point of giving people that deserve their flowers while they're still here. And you're one of those people that deserve the flowers, man. You know what I'm saying? So it wasn't intentional to make you cry. I'm sorry, and I'm kind of happy about it. Like,
don't be sorry. It was,
but like, you deserve your flowers. Man. You deserve your flowers for sure.
Thank you.
So I appreciate you with that, man.
I can honestly say, regardless of the circumstances, from Goodfellow and everything that happened with you, and not being able to have that military career that you were going for, I think it worked out for the best. And
in the long run,
you know, I'm sure as soon as you got out, I know you couldn't see it, and I know you see it now.
There were 2-3 long years, and even now to this day, sometimes there's like little spots here and there, you know. Should have lost my life many a times in my own hands. But at the same time, when people say thank you for your service, I always say I don't deserve it. Leave me alone. I hate Veterans Day. I hate Memorial Day. I hate all these things because I want to have that. I want to be able to deserve that. You know what I'm saying? And I don't feel like I'm worthy of it. But then I found out all it takes to be a veteran is 180 days of service. Yep. So by definition, I'm a veteran. Yep. But I never left the state of Texas. You know what I'm saying? Like it's kind of weird, you know, but you're right. I got to where I need to be and what my actual love and goal is, but I still stand firm on any other job. Any other job. Did you know that they were going to transfer me blue to green?
Really?
I had a choice, blue to green or discharge, and I chose discharge. I was going to be like a tank mechanic for the Army.
Oh.
And I said no. I was like, I'm over it. Like,
yeah. At that point, just cut your losses and move on, fresh start. And damn, you know, it's definitely gone your way. You know, I'm sure there was a struggle. You know, I know there was a struggle.
Same thing I said to you. On paper, it looks good, and we can talk about it later for less people to hear. But you know, I accentuate you because I don't know all the struggles, and you accentuate me because you don't know all the struggles. But that's just shows and proves that we're all human. We're all on the same level. It's just all a matter of what you're, you know, willing to show and stuff like that. But like, you're one of those guys that's in the circle, you know, and no matter how much time passes, like, this is literally the first time I've seen your face and your eyes and your mouth moving in 15 years, but we've always kept up over the past 15 years. You know what I'm saying? Like, those are the people that matter. You know, those are the people I want to talk to. I said, if anybody famous ever calls me like, hey, I want to be in your podcast, I don't want to make those generalizations on the first episode, but like, if that ever happened, I want to quit. That's not for me. I want to accentuate the people that I've been fortunate to be around, and it's a blessing and an honor to have you as the first person, because I got a lot of great people coming, but you've been there for all my successes in the past about 2-3 years, and that's been the best part of my life since 2009.
Wow.
So you know, having that there for you, or having you there for that, should I say, has been, I'm just gonna make you cry again. Let me stop. Let's get to the last two parts. I'm gonna get to the last two parts and we're gonna walk it out. All right. Okay. Number one, if you could say something to anybody if you're still listening, what would you say to somebody that's still listening right now? Anything you want.
Ooh. I would definitely make sure that they knew where to download your music. Because I've definitely enjoyed it. And, you know, yeah. Well, and one other thing, I want to make sure I get this out. You know, kind of going back to our previous conversation is, you know, thank you. I'm very humbled that you brought me onto the show and be your first guest. And two, I might cry here. Man, I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you, brother. Thank you.
You know, I think the last time I remember having a conversation with you, it was in the stairwell. At the dorm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I remember our conversation before you left.
I was so angry.
Yes. But we still end up having a good conversation because it was a genuine heart-to-heart, just me and you. There was no Tech Sergeant Alonso, Airman Francois. It was just two guys having that moment. And neither one of us knew what was going to come from your circumstance.
But quiet as it's kept, that's why I've always reached out to you. Because you were willing to be vulnerable and strip it down and let me be vulnerable in that moment. Because I went from anger to sad to comforted. Yeah. Because you really said this may not be what it is for you, and it's going to be better. I remember that conversation. I remember that conversation very vividly.
And, you know, and I've got to see you, you know, thanks to social media, become the man you are. And like I said, sorry.
You're fine. You're fine.
I'm proud of you, man.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that greatly. You have no idea. It's gratification for me. I don't really seek that very often. I'm one of those people that if I hurt someone's feelings, I get upset and sad because that's not my intention. Like the things I might say or come across as, it's maybe a defense mechanism, or I just think I'm funny, and sometimes I'm maybe not. But as soon as I do that, I'll never go back on that. But having someone tell me, I'm proud of you, you did the right thing, that to me sets me back in a positive way for a long time. You know what I'm saying? That gives me motivation to keep moving forward. And I appreciate that. Like, I appreciate that, Griff. We can talk about this off air. We got one last thing.
Okay, one last question. Sorry, didn't mean to take us off track.
When am I gonna see you face to face again? Let's plan something.
Okay. We need to plan something. That would be great. I would love to see you in person.
Yeah. I can come up there, you can come down here, we can meet halfway, whatever. But
well, ironically, I have to go to Minnesota in a couple of weeks.
that's still like 10 hours for me though. But I mean, it's better than driving 24 hours or however long it is to Seattle.
Yeah. I do have another job. I got to work for another agency to keep up with. I can't just use the baseball money. I got kids. I got to support their lives and their lives. But I got to go to Minnesota in a couple weeks. I'm trying to see if I can get on the tour, go out to Paisley Park and check out Prince's place, his studios. So maybe. But
we'll chat after we get off air. Maybe we could burst something out for that. Cause
if not.
Yeah, Prince was my guy. He outlasted Michael. Yeah.
But yeah, no, I would definitely like to get together. That would be a lot of fun.
It's been too long. I'm glad that we're still here. It's like 2 seconds to catch up, and it's like almost like it was just yesterday. You know what I'm saying? So I'm glad we're still here, and I appreciate you for just having this conversation with me. There will never, ever, ever be another first guest on Choice and Circumstance. You know what I'm saying? So the choice I made was my friend David Alonso and the Circumstance. I'm out of here. That's it.